First off, philosophy is a confession. Philosophy is a confession. Go love somebody that you don't like. Hey, what's good, y'all? Thanks for clicking on the link. WTJ Knowledge Drops back with another reaction video for you. This one is on the neuroscience of spirituality, but we'll get to that in a second. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. If you are new, I hope you learned something and have a little fun. Decide to stick around and subscribe. If you do subscribe, remember to hit the bell so you can stay in the loop and never miss a drop. If you are a returning viewer, welcome back, you knowledge nomad. And I hope you're learning to love people that you don't like so you can love yourself properly. Alright, that's enough of that. The Neuroscience of Spirituality. I haven't seen it before, first time reaction. By Dr. Lisa Miller. I haven't seen it before, like I said before. This is right up our alley for us knowledge nomads. I am very interested in neuroscience and spirituality, and this is the Neuroscience of Spirituality, Synchronicity, and the Awakened Brain. Stay to the end. I am going to give you a secret code so you can maybe win a free gift. I'm kidding. I'm not. But please stay to the end. Watch it all. Get some value out of it. Alright, I'm going to shut up. Without further ado, here is Dr. Lisa Miller in the Neuroscience of Spirituality.
The best clinical science can say is that spirituality is not a belief, it is an inborn human seat of perception. In 30 years as a scientist, the most breathtaking
Damn, so you're born with it, guys. I love that.
finding that I've seen is this: the spiritually engaged brain vibrates at the wavelength of all life. It can be through synchronicity, it can be through a gut instinct, but we have knowing in many forms. So the awakened brain is our inborn capacity, rather than fear uncertainty, to be an open system. And this is our greatest strength. I hear from people, well, how do I do that? There is a practice that I have found to be highly effective that was a gift to me. Shall we share it?
Yeah.
So that's why you need to stay to the end. She did it for me. Mine was piss poor, to say the least. But I think she maybe hooked you. Stay to the end. We'll learn more about what she's talking about right there. This is good so far. I'm excited. I think I'm going to like where she's going with this.
There's a very popular view right now that somehow if I want something, and if I really align myself, it'll be just as I perhaps ordered on Amazon. But what if the most important parts of our lives are not strategically planned? They're not what we want. They're better than what we want. This is our birthright, and shouldn't every child have?
Just to touch on what she said a second ago about trying to manifest something and it being delivered like from Amazon, you need to lower your expectations a little bit. Shout out to my AA people. Lower expectations equals higher serenity. You definitely can manifest anything you want, but you need to lower your expectations on the time frame, and you need to put the work in to manifest it, guys. You got to put the work in. Work. Faith without work is dead. I think that's what Christians say.
Have this opportunity.
Oh yeah, he's from the Know Thyself podcast, guys. Don't copyright me, bro.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Know Thyself. Our guest today is a professor and founder of the Spirituality Mind-Body Institute at Teachers College and Columbia University. She is a graduate from Yale, one of the leading national experts on health and spirituality, and the rising, emerging understanding and consilience between science, our brain, and spirituality. And her work has profound implications I'm really looking forward to diving into.
Me too.
Dr. Lisa Miller, thank you for being here.
Me too.
It is so lovely to be here, to enter into your world.
We welcome you with open arms. How do you define spirituality? Let's start baseline.
Well, if I put on my scientist hat, I would say that the most judicious thing to say as a scientist is...
She's so chill. I think one aspect, I guess you would say, you can tell somebody's spiritually aligned by how chill they are, I think. That's what I'm just clicking in my head. You can tell how spiritual somebody is by how chill they are. If they're chill, they're probably very spiritual, because it seems like it comes with the territory. That's what I was trying to say. I'm going to shut up.
Scientists can only identify threads of lived human spiritual life, not define spirituality all told.
Yeah, because it's all, you can only do your one little thread. And I think that's something to do with the string theory and quantum mechanics. I'm going to shut up.
But we are quite accurate in showing what dimensions of lived human spiritual life exist, have innate biological underpinnings, have profound consequence onto the rest of our lives, and change over the course of our lives. So to that avail, I can say of the many dimensions studied by scientists, the two that are innate, profoundly life-changing, and evolve over the course of our lifespan are a deep transcendent relationship. What we call that may change across cultures, traditions, faith traditions, but we are all born with an innate capacity for a transcendent relationship.
An innate capacity. You have a transcendent relationship. I love it. Dr. Lisa Miller. Woo! Good one.
And the second dimension that is all of ours is...
I'm going to pause right here. I think it's, well, I'm not going to say scientifically proven, but I think there are multiple dimensions that we have found. This scenario is probably going on in another dimension somewhere else, just a little differently. Or maybe the exact same. We don't really know that. I think it'll probably be impossible to know that. But I do think they exist, and I think there's more, probably more than just 2 or 3.
That just as we might feel the presence of the universe or God, Hashem, whatever our word is, in our own lives, we feel that ultimate love towards one another.
It's a good one. That's another reason why you should get love of God of some sort. You know, in AA they say you could find whatever. You just need a higher power. And I think that the love for the higher power allows you to have love for other people. Kind of transforms because we are all one. Every single thing is everything. Shout out to Owen Batiste III.
Relational spirituality. Whether or not I've ever encountered one day of religion in my life, every single one of us, 7.2 billion people on earth, are all spiritual beings when it comes to the inborn capacity.
So you can't even fight it. It's there. It's there just lying and waiting. It's like the tiger that's lying in with the addicted people. It's just ready to go. You know, give it one little ounce of effort and it's going to go. So we're all born with the innate ability to have spirituality.
For transcendent relationship and that presence, that felt awareness of God or the universe in one another and in earth.
That felt experience of our oneness is that the taste of that, the experience of that, I think transforms us on contact. And right now we live in...
I'm
going to
quite
go back
accurate
because I paused it too much.
Showing what dimensions of lived human spiritual life exist, have innate biological underpinnings, have profound consequence onto the rest of our lives, and change over the course of our lives. So
the only constant is change. I'm not going to pause it again, I promise.
To that avail, I can say of the many dimensions studied by scientists, the two that are innate, profoundly life-changing, and evolve over the course of our lifespan are a deep transcendent relationship.
They evolve, guys.
What we
That's
call that
beautiful.
may change across cultures, traditions, faith traditions, but we are all born with an innate capacity for a transcendent relationship. And the second dimension
so beautiful.
that is all of ours
Yes.
is that just as we
Beautiful.
might feel the presence of the universe or God, Hashem, whatever our word is, in our own lives, we feel that ultimate love towards one another. Relational spirituality. Whether or not I've ever encountered one day of religion in my life, every single one of us, 7.2 billion people on earth, are all spiritual beings when it comes to the inborn capacity for transcendent relationship and that presence, that felt awareness of God or the universe in one another and in earth.
That felt
Boom.
experience of our oneness is that the taste of that, the experience of that, I think transforms us on contact. And right now we live in perhaps one of the most individualistic cultures that has ever existed. And
Yes,
we're
we do.
seeing the effects of that in real time through depression and mental illness. Could you share any
Addiction is for really the main cause of both things he just said. So, depression can lead, all
context
roads
for just
lead
how
to addiction.
bad and disconnected it currently is right now on the planet?
Well, you've hit the nail on the head. If you want to, look across the past 100 years, we've never had a time where suicide was as pervasive and
Damn, social media, I think.
as shockingly prevalent amongst young people.
Ooh,
The rate of death by suicide has become the #1 killer of Gen Z.
oh my
So it's
God, guys, go hug a Gen Zer. Go hug them. Social media is insane, guys. It's Wild West, and the kids shouldn't be on it at all. Honestly, we shouldn't even be on it, because they read your fucking mind and they throw in your face what you want to see. And if it's negative shit, which most of the time it is, that's all you're going to put in your life is negative bullshit, and you're going to manifest negative shit. So, I guess what I'm saying here is we need to stay off social media. To make a long story short.
Cancer, it's not COVID. It now rivals auto accidents as the most likely way that a young person will die.
Go hug a Gen Zer.
Someone in high school and that college, it's now pressing down into middle school. So that was simply not the case. And if we track over the decades, how did we get here?
You guys, that's fucking crazy. Kids should not be committing suicide. Period. Fucking hug your goddamn kids, guys. Go give them a hug and a kiss every fucking day. Why not? They're your kids. You love them. If you don't, they're gonna get depressed and shit, and they're gonna detach, and they'll probably go either, if they survive it, they'll go into addiction probably, or some sort of way to cope with the problem that they're having, because that's really the cause of addiction. It's not a disease, what they call, or whatever. It's definitely a medication type to heal from some kind of trauma. And if kids are killing themselves, they're not getting love at home, because that's fucking bullshit, guys. Love your fucking kids. Go love them and hug them.
Ascension of the diseases of despair in general, addiction, depression, but foremost suicide, goes hand in hand with the attenuation of spiritual life, and in particular, as you opened, collective spiritual life. So what's the antidote? If I said, here's a pill, it'll fix it, right? We do have the antidote. In a meta-analysis, so a study of studies, you round up all good studies, tragically 2,000 completed suicides and 5,000 matched controls. There is an 82% decreased relative risk of completed suicide, 4/5 less likely to take our life, when spiritual life is shared in the Sangha.
Ooh. And I think that has a lot to do with every single thing is everything. And if we're all on the same wavelength, it's even fucking better. And I think we have lost kind of God in our life because of all the information and all the religious shit is kind of too weird. You know, I think we've gone away from, like, you know, it's not real and all that bullshit. But it is real. Not this crazy stories in religion, but spirituality and being able to manifest shit and, you know, all the spooky shit that the people in the West here will throw you into a loony bin for. It's possible. It's real shit, guys. I'm not fucking playing.
Shared in the Minion Fellowship, the squad. So we could do this. We could do this starting this evening. We could engage one another, come together, and not just have the two of us in the room, but welcome an ultimate presence in and through us. Some people say the third presence. I would call it the first.
Praying with your kids is one of these things. Praying, or just meditating.
Our faith traditions do this. It's immediately available to us. Shall we? Yeah.
Bring it
I'm
in.
curious, when we use the word spiritual or spirituality, how do you discern, I suppose, what materials would say you could boil down to biochemical kind of reactions? When you're using the word spiritual, do you ever refer to metaphysical, non-material realities? Because I know so much of your work has been bringing forth what feel like
I made a video on the 12 law of metaphysics. I will drop a link right here. And I'll put it in the description. 12 laws of metaphysics. It'd be one of the first videos I made, so, you know, it's probably kind of cringy, but whatever. Go look at it. Go watch all my shit.
metaphysical experiences
Not my old shit. My old shit is cringy. It's just the newer shit.
into understandable brain chemistry and kind of bridging the gap between the two.
Oh, that's such a magnificent point. So we certainly can track the neural correlates in our brains of transcendent relationship. We can certainly point on the MRI machine and say, okay, whether I live in China, the US, or Brazil, the same neural correlates run when I am in a deep transcendent connection.
That is crazy. I think we have scientific proof on this now. I think she might be getting into it right here, but that's crazy. It's real, guys. It's real.
To the force of life. You know, there's one force of life and there's one human portal. That does not mean that all of spirituality can be boiled down to the brain. I am by no means a biological reductionist. That merely means body, mind, and soul in the monoist view of the human.
I think our brain is an antenna. It's basically an antenna that navigates us through this existence that doesn't even exist.
We're soul, we are mind, we are body. There is at once a neurotrace, as there is a phenomenological experience, as I would say there is ontologically in the structure of being, the stuff of consciousness or spirit, all at once. Now, in The Awakened Brain, in my book, I spend the first 2/3 pointing out our natural spiritual nature, the capacity through which we can perceive and receive.
I've never read her book, but I'm interested and I'm going to read it after this. I recommend that you guys do too. It sounds like it's has value in it. Valuable, I was going to say.
Perceive transcendent awareness. But the final third is this dedicated to this very exciting emerging science done by generally extremely rigorous scientists on the foundational nature of consciousness.
This is fantastic. I think they're doing clinical studies and shit. So we're about to fucking find out some real shit here.
Running in us, through us, and among us. Where suddenly we can stop borrowing the 20th century somewhat reductionist view of the brain as a maker of thoughts, right? Like a Ford Motor Factory, the brain somehow produces thoughts, or toasters or something like that.
That's how we think about it here in the West. I'm not lying. That's how we view spirituality. It's fucking weird.
Instead, to the brain being an antenna or a conduit of consciousness.
Conduit.
That opens up the possibility that we are both emanations of consciousness, like rays from the sun. We are in relationship to consciousness.
They call it tunya in Hindi. I learned that one in my last reaction. Tunya. It's the spirituality that shines on you like the sun. If you're in the rays, you are conscious.
Us receiving, perceiving, contributing back. There's a dialectic going on. That's very, very far, to your point, from radical materialism or biological reductionism.
This is why you need to be more positive, because you're putting back, you're giving back to the collective consciousness, okay? And you're not doing anybody any good. That's why negative shit spreads so fast. Well, you know, one person starts feeling that way, and then they put that energy out there into the collective consciousness, and then the others just gather around. Be good, people. Don't hate on people. I know that you get real, you know, just don't.
I think it's important to point out that the best clinical science can say is that spirituality is not a belief. It is an inborn human seat of perception. We are born to perceive into the spiritual reality. And that's where clinical science stops. And then we can pivot and say, how does the brain, what is our evidence that the brain is connected beyond the brain in the box, beyond.
I still want evidence too. I'm stuck in that Western view. It's our default setting. I'm trying to get out of it. But yes, I would like to have some evidence on a scientific study. I think she's getting to it right now.
On the atomistic limits of the skull. And there's a cascade of magnificent research going on. May I share one of my favorite studies?
Please, yeah.
Perhaps my favorite study is really a founding study of what we now call post-material psychology. Post-material meaning a consciousness-based psychology.
Cool.
It was done by Achterhoff. Achterhoff invited a traditional indigenous healer to be in one MRI machine. The patient was down the hall, and in some cases across the street, in a second MRI.
Oh, this is good shit, man.
MRI machine. As the traditional healer started to do his or her work, a consistent pattern came up on the fMRI machine, tracking blood flow. Within an instant, the same pattern came up on the MRI screen
On the patient
of the patient.
Holy shit. It's real, guys. It's real. Your thoughts can do damage, or they can do wonders. So don't kill anybody with your thoughts, please. Stop thinking negative about people. This is beautiful study. I am so thankful I watched this video. Thank you to the person who recommended it on Patreon. And please consider subscribing to my Patreon. Link's in the description. I'm going to shut up, or this is going to take 2 hours.
Implying one thing, consciousness, in two places. The material footprint is what shows up on the MRI. How do I understand that? One thing, consciousness, healing consciousness, I would say spirit, in two places. Well, there's several explanations, but one of them is that there's a send and receive between the healer and the patient at a distance, that the brain is a form of an antenna or a conduit. But I think that it's very dangerous for the new consciousness-based science to make the same mistake as the materialist science of the 20th century.
Yeah, that's a good point. Put ourselves in a damn box. We don't need to be boxed in. We need to be outside of the fucking box.
Which is really to claim radical anthropocentrism, that we are in the center, sending consciousness back and forth. From whence does consciousness come? Well, no one really answers that, but it's kind of suggested that we make consciousness, or we're the king and the queen. It seems to me that if we're really on a search, that we shouldn't feel nervous or somehow out of fashion to step out of the outdated vogue of radical anthropocentrism. And let's build a science built around source.
Oh, yes.
That there's a source of consciousness. I say God. You use your word.
Yeah.
We need to.
Yeah, I love the invitation to, just a reminder to not make the same mistake that the materialists, reductionists have.
I think one day we will find the source, figure out the source, And I think AI might have to take it to do it, but I think we're going to figure it out. What do you guys think? Drop a comment and let me know if you think we'll ever find the main source of consciousness. I need the engagement.
And the new emerging science. And yet the pendulum has swung one way, and we're seeing a lot of emerging science, discussions around non-locality of consciousness and quantum entanglement, and these things that point to our interconnected nature that are really important to discuss, because right now we're run largely by this materialist notion of reality and mainstream understanding of science. And so,
can I say one thing about that?
Yeah.
So there's a very popular view right now in mainstream culture that somehow if I want something, which is really a hedonic perspective, I would like to lose weight. I would like to have a child.
Is this what you refer as the achieving mind in your book?
Yes. I want something, right? And taken at the level of consciousness, I'm going to send that out, and it's...
So our brains don't know the difference between, like, really having something or thinking that you really have something. It doesn't know the difference between the two, and I think that's the key to manifestation.
It's going to come back. And if I really align myself and I really send it out, it'll be just as I perhaps ordered on Amazon, right? And that's a very limiting, very
Lower your expectations. Lower expectations equals higher serenity.
limiting journey. Because what I want is only based on today's information backwards. It's all historically driven.
Your memory.
Yes.
That's
But what
good
might
shit.
be in store if I'm in a dialogue with the force in life, or the oneness of all being, seeing what unfolds before me, has information that I've yet to discover. So giving up what I want should be a relief. And instead, life is this grand spiritual adventure. Who knows who's going to come around the corner next? How amazing what's in store for today. You never know. But it's better than what you think you wanted.
Boom.
Even if it's distasteful or hurts.
It's going to be better. We always think the worst. We're our own worst critics. And it's always going to work out for the greater good, guys. Everything always works out. I know you might be in a place where it feels like it doesn't, but it does. Start thinking. You got to you got to pretend to be who you want to be. Let's just say that. Fake it till you make it. You got to act the part to be the part. So just start acting how you want to be, and you will become it. How about that?
It's better.
I think coming to terms with the impermanent nature of existence and reality, how each moment is, whether or not we want it to, unfolding in a mysterious way. Like, we don't know what's going to unfold next, right? And yet, like, you're talking about this pervasive kind of psychology of planning existence to a T and controlling it, and try to Amazon order our relationships and career. And you're inviting the embracing of spontaneous existence, the awakened mind.
Yes.
And so let's kind of go into a little bit too, because the surrendering to the reality that each moment is like unknown, and if we want to experience a life greater than we could ever imagine, then it has to, by virtue, literally happen outside of our stored base of memory and of what we have known, So
Magnificent. Yes.
yeah. So now embracing and what is the awakened mind in your experience and how you've studied it?
So the awakened brain is our inborn capacity to be an open system. And each day, I don't know what's going to happen. Each day, I can't control what's going to happen, which is simply an ontological fact, or I cannot control what's going to happen. But rather than fear uncertainty, rather than be frustrated I don't have control, or that I let this ball slip out of my hand, or I didn't get him or her or them or that job, what is life showing me now? What is the universe revealing to me now?
Use that fear to push you forward instead of pull you back. You got to let that fear motivate you to beat it, to overcome the fear. That's how you overcome fears.
It can be through synchronicity
Let it put
and
in.
seeing the patterns laid before us, the guideposts. It can be through a dream. or a mystical experience. It can be through a gut instinct, but we have knowing in many forms. We have many inborn organic epistemologies. We're intuitives, we're mystics, we're logicians and empiricists. When I really open my awareness to be an open system and receive and perceive God's guidance, the universe, direction, that's sure footing. That's not risky. That's not, certainly not airy-fairy. That's the most sound bedrock I could be on. So shouldn't we be teaching our kids that in school? I mean, I sat around school waiting to talk about this for 20 years.
I don't think it will ever happen in schools in the West here. We look upon that shit as like black magic type shit, like paranormal. They'll definitely, you can't just bring up even like quantum physics is gonna blow these fuckers' minds. I can't sit down and have a conversation about what really exists and what doesn't, and the observer and all that shit with my parents. It ain't gonna happen. These older generations, I mean, maybe starting with us and the millennials, maybe we can start pushing towards more of a spirituality aspect of life, and I think we'll learn more about ourselves than we have in the past 100 years.
The first 20 years, how amazing for a child to learn your life is a grand, sacred adventure. You don't know where you're going, and you don't need to. It's not about some pre-chosen, predetermined terminus. It's about this discovery that you are on. And what's certain is that you can be rooted in a stance of quest. You can be rooted as an open system in dialogue with the universe.
That's the key.
Fear not.
Damn, Dr. Lisa Miller, I love you. I'm gonna get your fucking book today. That was beautiful. I'm gonna bring it back 1 second. I might have gone too far.
And what's certain is that you can be rooted in a stance of quest. You can be rooted as an open system in dialogue with the universe. Fear not.
Yeah. And we simply just don't know what we don't know.
You gotta be an open system. You gotta put that antenna up. If you become open, I think it raises your antenna, your consciousness antenna higher and higher, until you're just a chill-ass, cool-ass person, loving everybody.
Oh, right, these latent perceptual faculties that we all have, but have for various reasons been shut down, ignored, shamed. What do you feel are those innate perceptual capacities that we simply have overlooked societally?
That the child already has.
Yeah.
And so just as a sidebar, if I'm a parent in my 30s or 40s, my greatest opportunity is to allow my child to flourish in their natural birthright, to not shut down and tell them that experiences aren't real, whether by omission or commission. And the second greatest opportunity I have is that the natural spirituality in the child will reawaken me.
That's beautiful.
That's really a powerful point. I was just with a friend who, she was playing chess with her kid who's like 6 or 7. And she was just telling me just that, how like parenting and spending time with her child and as it's growing is connecting her so much to her own inner child and how healing it is. So
the child is like a porthole for spirit,
Yeah.
and awakens everyone in the room, whether we ask or not,
Sure.
whether we know it or not. And you can track if through the lens of science, if 9 people are in a deep state of.
We gotta still that kid's spiritual energy. They're fucking full of it. I mean, don't, steal all of it, but you can definitely tap into your children and get some spirituality out of it. They are full of it. They are pure spirituality, actually. Unjaded, not the life hadn't knocked the shit out of them yet. They still just love and play. Suck their energy out and use it.
Prayer and the 10th person walks in, they more quickly move into a transcendent state of awareness as measured by the rapidity with which their mirror neurons come up online, which means that the naturally transcendent child, like an antenna, hosts consciousness, and we all in the room awaken around the child.
That's what I was
That's
saying.
such a powerful point, because a lot of us aren't aware of the power of mirror neurons and how, not metaphorically, but literally.
Mirror neurons. I was today years old, guys.
Physically, the act of awakening as a being not only gives people unconsciously the permission to do the same, but also it brings forth that possibility in so many ways. And we just had Rupert Spirit on the podcast. He said the greatest service one can render humanity is to recognize the nature of one's own being. In that state of self-recognition, of self-realization, you become a candle in a dark world, you know, and so I would love for you to share, like,
Can I make an addendum? And the nature of your child's true being.
Yeah, which is again a reflection of our own, right?
Perhaps.
Yeah.
Open.
I think that
could
parents
be.
really sweat it. They're like, if I don't have my spiritual game on, if I'm not fully aligned, am I going to damage my child's flame? Am I going to mute their flame?
Yeah.
And I think that the child's flame burns bright. And as parents, all we have to do is witness. Parents get very, very nervous. Am I not going to have the right words? Am I not going to know how to respond when my child has an awakening? And all we have to do is witness. We're ambassadors. We show the child around this holy land. We don't need to have answers. I also think that as parents, when we open up about our own spiritual path, when we let our flame be seen, the child knows that spiritual life is real. We talk about it. Our relationship goes to that depth, and that they can always get back to source. And that means having the will to open up the window and be transparent to our children.
Yeah.
I was in a terrible mood today. I was obsessed with rumination today.
Yes, this is
and I'm
good.
so sorry because I missed you while I was ruminating. Would you sit with me while we meditate together? Would you sit with me and join me in a prayer? You can finish the prayer today.
That is
And in that way,
fantastic.
you are showing the child that in and through all of our relationships is always divine presence. And who we are to one another is a divine appointment.
What do you think about those mirror neurons and how our neurology doesn't quite discern the difference between imagination and reality?
Well, we count on it for MRI studies. But the most classic MRI study is to ask someone to share a very profound memory. And as we share this memory, to fill it out with sensory information, what it was like, what it felt like, where were you, anchor yourself physically, mentally.
How many patients did you do these studies with when you had them under the fMRI and you were doing this, having them focus?
We've had many studies with different numbers in different studies, but if I might just, when we share memory in the MRI, we elicit the same neural correlates as if we were actually there, plus memory, right? And what we find is that these memories are very, very, very real. So it opens up a question that neuroscience hasn't examined yet, which is, do we go back there?
So they have hooked up sensors up to people that are dying, and the reason why your life flashes in front of your eyes is because the memory part of your brain is the last part to lose oxygen, basically. It's the last part to die. So as everything else is dead and dying, your memory bank is still working until the very, very last second. So that's why your life flashes in front of your eyes.
The field of consciousness. Have you done past life regression?
I've done a couple sessions way back.
Did you feel you went back there?
I don't know.
I felt I went back there.
Yeah.
Past life regression. What the fuck is that?
It was very, very real, and it was different than telling a story or a memory from this life.
Yeah.
When I did past life regression, there was a cadence and a momentum to the experience that had a life of its own. There was a real sense of consciousness moving through my landing pad of a brain, not a constructivist sense of coming up with a story or filling in a story or connecting the dots, but really of receiving, a horse on fire. Like it really tore through. And I would say that the way I understand past lives in my own direct experience is that we can access what is actually germane and alive. It's not a parlor game. It's not a dalliance to go picking around our past lives. It is, we are brought where effectively we are now. So it's whoosh through the wormhole.
Where those energies are still alive within us.
And whether it was in linear time 1846 or 1486, we are in that nexus of consciousness that I think in linear time is eternal. So I think of time as like a clover. And at the moment, we're at the center, going through multiple centuries or decades. Do you think we can go into the future?
Like
future life.
Through our consciousness?
Yes.
I don't know.
I don't know either.
Premonitions, maybe? I doubt it. I doubt it because we don't know. How are you going to see in the future when we don't know? I mean, she just said that shit. It's uncertain, So, I don't think we'll be able to tell the future. That's nonsense, I think.
But have you had visions of things in the future?
I think I've definitely had like premonitions and strong intuitive pulls that were turned out to be very real and true. And I think largely released the urge I used to have, which is like the logical understanding or I suppose empirical validation of like whether or not it existentially is true in reality. Because I don't know, I've just come to terms with not knowing. I think
experiencing.
Yeah, just experiencing, and that balance, right, between like only again societally valuing what we can empirically kind of deduce and versus the ontological, experiences and firsthand innate interior experiences. And so you were, when you guys were in these studies, you had 4 major understandings that you guys were able to pull through when they were guiding the science of the awakened brain.
Yes.
And I would love for you to walk through those because I think those findings are very important in bridging our understanding of spiritual experience and the science of it.
So
I like where he's trying to get at. Let's hear about this more. That's what I'm interested to. Good question, Andre.
we invited people to share a profound transcendent connection. And the people who participated in our study were from all different faith traditions and outside of faith tradition. So Catholic, Hindu, Jewish, Muslim, spiritual but not religious. And no matter what tradition they may be from or what language they used, as they shared their experience of a direct transcendent connection, the same neurocorrelates ran through our fMRI study, which means that irrespective of how our innate spirituality is cultivated, however we call or name,
it's scientific proof that prayer fucking works in meditation. This is scientific proof. I love it. I'm so glad I got this video going. Now I gotta shut up so we get through it. We're halfway there.
The transcendent, however we access the transcendent, a walk in nature, meditation, prayer, when we are in connection with our higher power, there is one awakened brain, and we all have it. There are 4 dimensions to the awakened brain. The first and only the first is shared in common with mindfulness, which is we stop the racket, we quiet the default mode. What did I say? Is he going to remember I said that? Did the check clear? That sort of rumination comes when we quiet the default mode network. That is only one of the 4 dimensions, and it is shared with the very helpful practice of mindfulness, which is to simply bring presence and quiet and attention. The next three dimensions are unique to awakening. The next three dimensions have to do with spiritual connection. The first is that the bonding network comes up online, and we are aware, we perceive that we are loved and held. It is the same bonding network that's engaged when we're children in our parents' or grandparents' arms. Now, from a reductionist point of view, we would say, okay, the bonding network runs, you feel as if you were being loved and held. But from a 20th century view of the brain as a conduit, an antenna, it's possible to interpret the finding as saying the transcendent presence engages our bonding network.
Oh, I like that.
And we therefore perceive the
I think it definitely helps in relationships. Absolutely.
transcendent is loving and holding us.
And you are loved and held even if you don't have somebody physically there to do it. You just put your antenna up and receive the love because it's out there for you. I'm sending it out all the time. And I bet thousands, a million of other people are as well. It works. Put your antenna up and receive the love and be held. It's out there.
And that's a view of the human as an open system. The next dimension is that we move from having a very narrow attention span, dorsal attention, the bowling alley point of view.
Good luck with that. People don't even watch long form videos anymore. They all watch short form videos. Well, I think my age group and older, us old people that had, that lived without technology, basically, we still watch long form, but I think Gen Z and millennials are definitely more into the short form content. But I'm a long form guy. I put out shorts to kind of promote my longs, but I don't really dig short form content. I'm not a fan of it, honestly.
I got to get this job. I've got to write that letter. Is he or she, are they going to ask me out again? Focused really on what's dogging me, to moving to a much bigger, broader range of perception, the ventral attention network, where the floodlights or the sunlight comes on, and suddenly something way over there, 140 degrees, pops. Again, a reductionist point of view would say that we can scan a larger field and find something over there in the corner. But a 20th century view of the brain as a conduit would say something over there at 140 degrees pulls our attention. We're in dialogue. And because the ventral has allowed us to open up a wider scope, we are prepared to receive engagement at 140 degrees. Situational awareness. So we now are able to perceive that we are actually loved and held. We are actually guided. And finally, the parietal that puts in and out hard boundaries allows us to know that you're seated very peacefully in your chair, and I'm in mine, and we each have our own zipped up bio bodysuits. We are distinct, but we are also one. We are part of the great oneness. We are part of the family of life. We're part of the field of consciousness.
The only single thing is everything. Shout out Olin Baptiste III.
We are all emanations of source. Whatever your language, the parietal lets us know that while we are a point, we are also part of the wave, that we are distinct in one. So when we engage our awakened awareness, we know that we are loved and held, guided, and never alone. Loved, guided, part of the oneness.
That's why enlightened people learn to love the people they don't like. Because here's the thing. Do you like everything about anybody? I don't. I can pick out something about every single person on this planet that I don't like, and I can pick out shit that I do like. That's how I look at people. I don't look at people as if I like them or don't like them. I look at people as in they're another reflection of me, and I love them no matter what they do. Unconditional love, people. Unconditional love.
That's not a belief. It is a seat of perception. It's a capacity in every one of us. Many people cultivate this because while we are all given the wiring to awaken. This gift is 1/3 innate, 2/3 environmentally formed, which means as adults, our practice of meditation, our prayer life, our service to other people, when we help the guy across the way who needs some food, when we babysit for the family who looks like they're at wit's end, when we do something that is generous and shows love of neighbor, we awaken to the love written into life. When we help others along, we awaken to the...
I think we've lost that too. Do you know your neighbors? Drop it in the comments. Let me know. I don't know my neighbors at all. Never talked to them once, honestly. I am in a house and not like an apartment complex where it's hard to not know them. But let me know in the comments. I need the engagement.
guidance written into life. So just as transcendent practice is awakening, love of neighbor and altruism are profoundly awakening of our birthright.
So the understanding of what's happening in the neurology and these felt senses of interconnectedness and spiritual experiences are really profound. And I'm curious what you feel the correlation is between allowing a greater intelligence to move you in a sense of more coherence and these states that you're talking to. Like you mentioned, when you do these generous things, when you cultivate a mindfulness practice, you have this felt sense of interconnectedness, right? And it seems like we're going for many ways from the top down to the bottom up in the way of navigating life and being open and inviting more of the unknown and the serendipitous and the synchronistic. So talk to me, I guess, about how when you cultivate this both innate faculty and capacity that we have within us, and something that we can continue to cultivate in our daily life, we can move more towards synchronicity and not solely rely on the rational.
Synchronicity is very solid data. I would call it hard data. The synchronicity, of course, is when two mechanistically unrelated events actually reveal one deeper unitive common purpose or common entity. So I could be thinking of someone and they call. I could be wondering, where shall we drive this summer? And someone at the coffee shop sits down and says, have you ever been to the Badlands? So synchronicity reveals that we are part of a symphony and that we're all playing a role.
Damn, that's good. We're all part of a symphony, guys. That is beautiful. I've never heard of anything like that. So that's blah, blah, blah. I'm going to cut this out.
Show up for one another, just as people show up for us. Really, like rays of the sun or fingers from a hand, we are all emanations of source. Now, why is that so important? Well, you are a trail angel. You are. And when
A trail angel.
When you feel in your heart, I'll give you an example. Have you ever felt compelled to say something to someone? You don't know why, you don't know where it came from, but you felt compelled to say it.
Yeah.
Will you share the story?
Oh, wow. There's actually a lot that come to mind.
What you said, how they responded?
Yeah, I think the more that I've just become sensitive as a human being, I can, sense the underlying energy in which words come from, or, the unspoken things within somebody's life. So I've also, I think, just dialed in more with like pattern recognition and like whether it's supporting a friend who's struggling with something and being able to, while the main focus of what the perceived problem is right here, seeing the link of the pattern of where it's actually a deeper underlying thing that needs our attention. So there's innumerable examples while being in conversation with friends where there's something that feels like, whether it's a subconscious capacity for pattern recognition or a greater intelligence connection to source that's moving through me, perhaps it's all the same thing.
But you count on it.
Yeah,
Has it ever gone wrong?
If it's coming from love, usually it never will go wrong. If it's coming from ego and trying to prove something, or I suppose for my own agenda, outside of the true genuine service, then I think it has.
Can you feel the difference?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So I'll give some examples.
Yeah.
I'm in the healthy grocery store, And there's a woman, at the healthy grocery store, I like to look in other people's carts for good ideas. And, she has abundant healthiness. A beautiful chard and beautiful kale and coconut-based yogurt. And I look at her, and there's something 20% sad or distant. I can't identify it. But what comes through me, what I feel told to say is, you look so healthy. You are so healthy. So I deliver the message. And the woman bursts out crying. And she says, I have cancer. I'm starting chemotherapy tomorrow.
Damn.
Her eyes full of tears.
Super cool.
And I said, well, they're going to take it out. You are healthy.
Oh.
And she said, thank you. I needed to hear that. I didn't come up with that, right? And she said, I have cancer. I'm having surgery tomorrow. I said, they're going to take it out. You are healthy.
That's how you
she's
handle
very
it.
moved. Okay, she's moved because that message from Source was that you are strong, you are healthy, and that which had made you ill, invaded you, is going to be removed.
That's how you handle healing, guys. You gotta act like you're already healed. Just don't think of negative shit like that. I'm gonna shut up.
If I hadn't said it, she wouldn't have had her helpful message. Right? And so on note, really on key, are these messages that come through us that I've come to count on that process. So
Trust it.
Oh,
I trust it, and and when I'm stuck and I don't know quite how to help someone else along, I pray and meditate and ask for guidance. So, for instance, a woman I know was well into the 3rd trimester.
do you guys pray? I do. Let me know in the comments. This is the most replayed part, so I'm gonna shut the fuck up.
And lost a baby. What do you say to her? And I wasn't sure how to be supportive and walk with her through that very painful loss. And so I prayed. I said, please God, guide me and use me as a vessel to share what will support her in her journey, in your child. And sure enough, and we're all built this way, the right words come. And I see her then a few weeks later, and she said that those words on your note, they were exactly, I read it to my husband many times, what we needed to hear. So God sends us working for each other. The universe has this beautiful symphony, and we're all in it.
I fucking love that. The cultivation of the trust for both supporting other people, but then also for our own life's journey it's such a freeing sensation to know that you're never alone. Like, you always have that felt sense of connection to something greater. And I think it's Terence McKenna that has the quote. He said, the secret to life is you hurl yourself into the abyss and realize it's a feather bed.
Wow.
And there's just there's this free fall into the unknown of life.
You're caught.
Yeah, and you're held, which is beautiful.
That is
Loved
beautiful.
and held.
Yeah.
There's sometimes people will say, I don't know how to receive. If we're saying, okay, spirituality is not a belief, it is a seed of perception. It's in you. I hear from people, well, how do I do that? And I think that every tradition has a way in, but there is a practice that I have found to be highly effective that was a gift to me. Shall we share it?
Yeah.
Are you open to that?
Yeah, I am, totally.
Okay. This is a practice that was shared with me. So I share it forward. I always thank the teacher, from the late Dr. Gary Weaver. May we practice?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to invite you, if you'd like, to close your eyes and clear out your inner space.
I'm gonna do it.
If you would, 5 breaths. I invite you in your inner chamber to set before you a table. This is your table. And to your table, you may invite anyone, living or deceased, who truly has your best interest in mind. Anyone living or deceased who truly has your best interest in mind. And with them all sitting there, ask them if they love you. And now you may invite your higher self, the part of you that's so much more than anything that you may have done or not done, anything you may have or not have, your true, eternal, higher self. And ask you if you love you. Ask you if you love you. And now finally, you may invite your higher power, God, Spirit, whatever word is yours, however you know your higher power. And ask if they love you. Ask if they love you. Now, with all of these people sitting here right now, what do they need to tell you now? What do they need to share? What do they need to let you know? When you're ready, I invite you back.
I'm back.
Thank you for that.
That was beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's just so nice to feel the many human beings that are in our lives alive.
I almost teared up while sitting there with my person. I think I might have, and I still am actually. I'm gonna shut the fuck up.
That we can feel held and supported by. That I feel held and supported by, and just like so much gratitude for. I think sometimes we think non-physical angels or people that are like not in bodies, like those are like the spiritual beings to connect with, and there's so many examples of the physical human angels that are in our life that want to support us and love us and want to see the best for us. So that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Was there someone who surprised you or you particularly enjoyed sitting at your table?
I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, there's from my family.
I had one person sitting at my table. I didn't get a whole shit ton. Just one guy. It was me one-on-one.
To previous mentors and brothers and friends of mine. Yeah.
You had a big table.
Big table, yeah.
Lovely.
Holding it down.
Lovely.
It down. Yeah, and that is such a, even when we were speaking to earlier with mirror neurons, it feels like that practice, it like gives us the experience of actually being there, and actually feeling held and supported, where people feel proud of you and are rooting for you in genuine love. And that's always available to us because we can always visualize that within us,
Yes, please remember that. You don't have to physically receive it to get it, guys. That's just a weird shit in the West. They try to dumb our shit down. You don't have to have it physically to receive it. It's out there. The love, the warmth, the push from behind, it's all out there. You just have to raise your antenna and then give back positively. Feedback in, and then we're all good. The love is out there. You are loved. Don't be depressed.
And so that's an amazing tool. Thank you for sharing.
It's my view that they are there.
Mm.
And they're there even if they're embodied and right now in Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like distance is irrelevant and life and death is irrelevant. I think you get closer to people when they die. I think they become part of you, basically. They're back into the real spiritual world, and which is you. Where the only single thing is everything. So when they die, you just become closer. That's how I look at death. I don't really get sad over it. That love, I bring it into my body. You should too.
Yeah.
Superposition, right? In the way that a father wakes up in the middle of the night and he knows that his son who's been deployed has had something go wrong, right? There's a sense of deep bondedness through which we are one and distinct.
On that note, what do you feel like are the most shocking discoveries you've personally learned about non-locality of consciousness and quantum entanglement, which we spoke to earlier, in regards to this? Because there's a lot of strange things happening at that scale that we can't maybe fully rationalize, but is very powerful nonetheless. And so, yeah.
The universe is under no obligation to make sense to you. Shout out Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's his quote. And he was putting it into astrophysics in his book, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry, I think it's called. That quote was in there. I already forgot it. My short-term memory sucks.
Yeah. Well, anything that really sticks out in terms of its potency in regards to studying those two areas?
Well, I'll share one from the road of life, and I'll share one through the lens of science. How about that?
Cool.
Is that?
Yeah.
Through the road of life, what's always struck me is that where there is you could say a karmic entanglement, right? Positive or negative. Well, put it this way. If I honk at someone in traffic, I see them in the grocery store. If I lose my cool with someone at work, they show up on my summer vacation. Right? So there's a sense in which the consciousness tangles we create are dictating material expression of how we see each other and reconnect. Maybe it's a new opportunity to untangle that node. But I think that basically once in contact, always in contact.
I like that. Untangle the nodes, guys. Talk to them.
That's from the road.
I need to take my own advice. I have someone I need to call really bad, but I haven't built the courage up yet.
Of life. Through the lens of science, the most breathtaking finding that I've seen in 30 years as a scientist is this. When we look at people who, through suffering, difficulty, have awakened. So, there's a lovely...
That's me. Okay. My awakening really came 10 years ago when I had a stroke. My whole left side does not work. And it forced me to be alone in my head. And that's when everything became clear. So I think the key to it is... I forgot.
Body of science that shows that very often struggle, suffering, depression is the early phase of an awakening.
Ooh,
it's
two sides of one door, as you have so eloquently shared.
Yes, that the yearning and the struggle and the existential emptiness actually reveals that our vessel and capacity has become more capacious and now feels like a half-empty vessel. We are on a quest. So the yearning, the existential frustration doesn't mean we're off the path. It means we're on the path. A knock at the door, a bang at the door for a more deepened connection with God, Spirit.
Depression is just the first step of turning it around, guys. It's kind of a signal, I guess you would say. It's a signal for you to become spiritual and to put out what you receive and receive what you put out.
Consciousness. That is, I think, the majority of forms of human suffering. There's some where there's a biological depression, there's a piece broken, and we fix it with medication. But most of the time, and I'm not against medication, but medication alone is insufficient. Most of the time, there is an emergence that first presents itself. The ignition is struggle. It's developmental depression. When we take this journey,
Music cures better than any medication, guys. To get healthy, I mean, you got to do the physical stuff as well because we're in our bodies here. But fuck, man.
and we awaken, what we find is that we've cultivated a path, a spiritual response to suffering that is forevermore there for us. We can always get back. If we invite people to come in, this time not to the MRI machine, but the EEG machine that captures energy given off the back of the head, how we're using the brain waves, what we find is that people to recover, people to move, anything that you may have done or not done, anything you may have or not have, your true, eternal, higher self. And ask you if you love you. Ask you if you love you. And now finally, you may invite your higher power, God, Spirit, whatever word is yours, however you know your higher power, and ask if they love you. Ask if they love you. Now, with all of these people sitting here right now, what do they need to tell you now? What do they need to share? What do they need to let you know? When you're ready, I invite you back.
I'm back.
Thank you for that.
That was beautiful.
It's beautiful. It's just so nice to feel the many human beings that are in our lives alive.
I almost teared up while sitting there with my person. I think I might have, and I still am actually. I'm gonna shut the fuck up.
That we can feel held and supported by. That I feel held and supported by, and just like so much gratitude for. I think sometimes we think non-physical angels or people that are like not in bodies, like those are like the spiritual beings to connect with, and there's so many examples of the physical human angels that are in our life that want to support us and love us and want to see the best for us. So that was beautiful. Thank you for sharing.
Was there someone who surprised you or you particularly enjoyed sitting at your table?
I mean, there's a lot. Yeah, there's from my family.
I had one person sitting at my table. I didn't get a whole shit ton. Just one guy. It was me one-on-one.
To previous mentors and brothers and friends of mine. Yeah.
You had a big table.
Big table, yeah.
Lovely.
Holding it down.
Lovely.
It down. Yeah, and that is such a, even when we were speaking to earlier with mirror neurons, it feels like that practice, it like gives us the experience of actually being there, and actually feeling held and supported, where people feel proud of you and are rooting for you in genuine love. And that's always available to us because we can always visualize that within us,
Yes, please remember that. You don't have to physically receive it to get it, guys. That's just a weird shit in the West. They try to dumb our shit down. You don't have to have it physically to receive it. It's out there. The love, the warmth, the push from behind, it's all out there. You just have to raise your antenna and then give back positively. Feed back in, and then we're all good. The love is out there. You are loved. Don't be depressed.
And so that's an amazing tool. Thank you for sharing.
It's my view that they are there.
Mm.
And they're there even if they're embodied and right now in Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like distance is irrelevant and life and death is irrelevant. I think you get closer to people when they die. I think they become part of you, basically. They're back into the real spiritual world, and which is you. Where the only single thing is everything. So when they die, you just become closer. That's how I look at death. I don't really get sad over it. That love, I bring it into my body. You should too.
Yeah.
Superposition, right? In the way that a father wakes up in the middle of the night and he knows that his son who's been deployed has had something go wrong, right? There's a sense of deep bondedness through which we are one and distinct.
On that note, what do you feel like are the most shocking discoveries you've personally learned about non-locality of consciousness and quantum entanglement, which we spoke to earlier, in regards to this? Because there's a lot of strange things happening at that scale that we can't maybe fully rationalize, but is very powerful nonetheless. And so, yeah.
The universe is under no obligation to make sense to you. Shout out Neil deGrasse Tyson. That's his quote. And he was putting it into astrophysics in his book, Astrophysics for People in a Hurry, I think it's called. That quote was in there. I already forgot it. My short-term memory sucks.
Yeah. Well, anything that really sticks out in terms of its potency in regards to studying those two areas?
Well, I'll share one from the road of life, and I'll share one through the lens of science. How about that?
Cool.
Is that?
Yeah.
Through the road of life, what's always struck me is that where there is you could say a karmic entanglement, right? Positive or negative. Well, put it this way. If I honk at someone in traffic, I see them in the grocery store. If I lose my cool with someone at work, they show up on my summer vacation. Right? So there's a sense in which the consciousness tangles we create are dictating material expression of how we see each other and reconnect. Maybe it's a new opportunity to untangle that node. But I think that basically once in contact, always in contact.
I like that. Untangle the nodes, guys. Talk to them.
That's from the road.
I need to take my own advice. I have someone I need to call really bad, but I haven't built the courage up yet.
Of life. Through the lens of science, the most breathtaking finding that I've seen in 30 years as a scientist is this. When we look at people who, through suffering, difficulty, have awakened. So, there's a lovely...
That's me. Okay. My awakening really came 10 years ago when I had a stroke. My whole left side does not work. And it forced me to be alone in my head. And that's when everything became clear. So I think the key to it is... I forgot.
Body of science that shows that very often struggle, suffering, depression is the early phase of an awakening.
Ooh,
it's
two sides of one door, as you have so eloquently shared.
Yes, that the yearning and the struggle and the existential emptiness actually reveals that our vessel and capacity has become more capacious and now feels like a half-empty vessel. We are on a quest. So the yearning, the existential frustration doesn't mean we're off the path. It means we're on the path. A knock at the door, a bang at the door for a more deepened connection with God, Spirit.
Depression is just the first step of turning it around, guys. It's kind of a signal, I guess you would say. It's a signal for you to become spiritual and to put out what you receive and receive what you put out.
Consciousness. That is, I think, the majority of forms of human suffering. There's some where there's a biological depression, there's a piece broken and we fix it with medication. But most of the time, and I'm not against medication, but medication alone is insufficient. Most of the time, there is an emergence that first presents itself. The ignition is struggle, it's developmental depression. When we take this journey,
Music cures better than any medication, guys. To get healthy, I mean, you got to do the physical stuff as well because we're in our bodies here. But fuck, man.
and we awaken, what we find is that we've cultivated a path, a spiritual response to suffering that is forevermore there for us. We can always get back. If we invite people to come in, this time not to the MRI machine, but the EEG machine that captures energy given off the back of the head, how we're using the brain waves, what we find is that people to recover, people to move through despair, through an awakening, give off high amplitude alpha, specific wavelength. High amplitude alpha goes by another name in another field. It's Schumann's resonance, the constituent wavelength of nature from the Earth's crust up 1 mile all the way around the Earth, which means the spiritually engaged brain vibrates at the wavelength of all life, of nature, creation.
Beautiful.
So the kingdom, Eden was not long ago and far away. It's here now, and it is a choice to enter through our seat of being.
I love it.
And we readily then have available to the felt oneness is mirrored by the oneness of wavelength. That to me is the most beautiful finding in science.
That was beautiful.
So powerful. And there's a part in this book, The Awakened Brain, that I really love. So this was advice Howard Thurman that you quoted gave to someone who was struggling.
I remember what I was just saying a second ago. With music, that heals better than any medication you can get, probably. So you have to do the physical stuff, but I would recommend putting earbuds in and listening to your favorite music as much as possible, 24 hours a day if you can. That will heal better than anything else. Music heals.
To make a decision and desperate for guidance. And Thurman wrote a letter. His handwritten response said, "You're like a little boy under the Christmas tree who has so many gifts, he doesn't know which one to open first. The main thing is, you must wait and listen for the sound of the genuine which is within you. When you hear it, that will be your voice, and that will be the voice of God." And it feels like when you're in those moments of depression, despair, where you're speaking to awakening is the other side of the door, and making space for silence to discover that which is genuine within you to emerge.
Silence is beautiful. It's not quiet at all. A lot happens in silence.
Is it's our primary task is to make space and see what's trying to emerge from within us. And I know you've really shown so much of that and experienced it obviously in your own life, where those moments of depression eventually gave birth to some of the greatest gifts in your life. Would you agree?
I would.
You know what? Now that I think about it, that happened to me. I mean, after my stroke, I just think about not having use of your left side. You can't walk. I had had respiratory failure. I had to relearn to speak. I had to reuse my diaphragm. Every muscle I had to learn to reuse. When I first started to talk, it was all whisper. I had to relearn to swallow. I had to take a swallowing test for me to be able to even eat and drink again. So just imagine that. I was super depressed, and it gave birth to a beautiful being. And that was my bad karma. My first part of my life was terrible. I was not a good person at all. I had built up so much bad karma that it gave me a stroke. But I cleaned my slate. I was depressed, but it birthed a beautiful being in spirituality. Your depression is just the first step, guys. If you're depressed or something, it's that first step. You got something coming, and really to receive it, isolation. That was my point earlier too, when I forgot. Isolation is where it's at. That's when you get the most out of your spirituality and beliefs. That's why Jesus went into the desert. Spirituality, you know what I'm saying.
Say that depression forced me to go deeper on the spiritual path. that was certainly my experience. My husband and I struggled for years praying and hoping for children. It was profoundly, we had the jobs we wanted, we had the friends we wanted, we had the home we wanted, and it all felt empty and for naught in our lives, in our path for us, because we wanted to be parents. And one can, if you will, try to conceive, but humans cannot make conception, right? There has to be the breath of life. So we tried, and 5 years went by and nobody came. It was profoundly depressing. And that was a journey I share in the Awakened Brain of extraordinary ego death. You could control probably, when it comes to the most important things in life, 2%, 5%. And the tidal wave of life is a force far greater than us. And what we can do is start to ask, what is life showing me now? What is life revealing to me now?
This is good.
Not what do I want and how am I going to get it? I want a baby. How are we going to get a baby? Well, let me research the best infertility doctors. Ooh, that didn't work. Let's go to Boston. In Boston, there's a team where their rates are 5% higher. Let's go there. This form of achieving awareness is spoon-fed to us as children and cultivates a form of perception of reality, which is really very anthropocentric, where, we're basically Mighty Mouse in the middle of the universe, commandeering what we want. And if we don't get it, we must up our game. There's a better strategy. But what if the most important parts of our lives, who we love, where we end up finding that we feel alive, with whom, where, what we're doing, are not strategically planned based on yesterday's information, but are really discovered? These are gifts. These are gifts of God, gifts of the universe. They're not what we want. They're better than what we want.
And perhaps in kind of getting close to wrapping up here, you really talk so beautifully about the integration between both achieving and awakened mind. And in so many ways, and I've heard you actually share that we've been educated out of our spiritual awareness. And so a lot of us have to do more work in the building of the relationship with the awakened state and those perceptual capacities. And then there's a cohesiveness and integration with that achievement kind of a mind and the rationality. And as we're riding this wave of life, we, with our intention, kind of carve out the tail, kind of the direction we want to go. But then you're inviting this kind of open palm to see what you want to receive from life as well. And so what have you learned about the importance of the integration of kind of both understandings?
We need both achieving awareness and awakened awareness, and to use them in tandem. So I can ask a grilling question through achieving awareness.
This is why I'm trying to blend science and spirituality. That's my whole goal. And I think there's a real benefit out of it if we can merge the two successfully, and you get both worlds, and that is my agenda here.
What profession do I want to go into? Where do I want to relocate my family? How do I solve this algorithm? And plow through that logically, stepwise, and still not quite have a deep resonance that I've reached a solution. And when I feel stuck with my drilling pure logic, I can toss the question over to an awakened form of knowing. I can see if perhaps I have an intuitive response, or if in my dream life there's clarity and I wake up perhaps in the morning having traveled there and back with a certainty. There are other ways of knowing which are less cultivated than in our mainstream education system that are profound, surefire, hard data ways of knowing. Intuition, mystical awareness. The skeptic is always welcome. The skeptic can help drive this inquiry, but when we can bring into consort multiple forms of knowing, really multiple organic epistemologies, we develop a dialogue between ways of knowing. And this is our greatest strength. This is our greatest strength. We even see that people who walk through life receiving a mystical experience and then discerning its significance, or noticing a pattern in the universe empirically and then intuiting the deeper underlying truth. myelinate the tracks between regions of the brain. We effectively pave the highways so that we are more innovative thinkers. We are more situationally aware. We're more creative. Yes, in our work, but most importantly in our lives. This is our birthright. And shouldn't every child have this opportunity?
Yes.
I feel definitely so. And I just think of how some of the most brilliant innovators in the past, like Newton, Edison, Gödel, they had metaphysical practices that would help them tap into that state. And then it's like you kind of receive the insight of whether it's innovation is something you're working on or the direction of your life. It really feels like the balance of both is.
This is why Nikola Tesla didn't really make it in the West here, because he knew what's up. He's one quote he has is, the minute we start researching the paranormal, we'll gain more knowledge and science than we have in the last 100 years. I think that's something like that. But that's why Nikola Tesla does not fly over here in the West. Edison.
How life can make the most of you in a way.
And the awakened insight is indeed received. There's a receptive form of transcendent perception. Whereas often there's a more front-footed driving quality to empiricism or logic. And we need to bring both the receptive and the front-footed forms of perceiving and knowing into consort.
Yeah. I found what you shared about Schumann's resonance just so powerful. And I think people that are listening to this podcast certainly strive for the cultivation to like that level of coherence in one's life, where you discover your own well-being, you find that alignment and coherence and, helping and serving the world. I know I definitely feel that on my path. And what are any last thoughts you have for arriving at that place, whether it's through practices, any insights that you feel like we haven't touched on yet, for people to embrace the awakened brain, mind, and life?
Well, the deep rhythm of the universe is experienced by all living beings. So animals don't seem to miss a beat. I can say in my own path, when I'm feeling deeply aligned, when I am connected with the heartbeat of the universe, I am working in tandem with fellow living beings. And when I am feeling surly and out of step and not aligned, I am not working in tandem with fellow living beings. So if in my meditation life, I'm too distracted to get down to it. In my prayer life, I'm not getting there. Go outside to nature and let the animal be your guide. Let the animal be your teacher. Let the tree ground you into all infinity.
Yeah, that's pure consciousness, especially trees and plants. I believe animals as well. But yes, nature is pure consciousness. Go out there and receive it. Put your antenna up and receive it, guys. I'm going to shut up. We're almost done here.
Because they're always there. They're at your table.
It's a really important reminder, and I've definitely found that the actual key to speeding up is slowing down usually first.
Damn, Andre, that was good. You gotta speed up to slow down, guys.
Life. So thank you for sharing that reminder.
And of course, the child will show up in step.
Yeah.
The spiritual child.
Lisa, I've really loved our conversation so much.
Me too.
And with just our short time today, feel very connected from when you first came here. And
So what we just witnessed isn't just a conversation, it's a revelation. Dr. Lisa Miller has shown us that spirituality isn't a fringe belief or a mystical abstraction. It's hardwired into our biology. The awakened brain isn't a metaphor, it's measurable. It's a measurable living system that connects us to meaning, to synchronicity, and to each other, guys. The only single thing is everything. Whether you call it God, the universe, or simply presence, there's a neural signature to that connection. And the more we lean into it, not with blind faith, but with open awareness, the more we awaken to a life that's guided, purposeful, and deeply alive. If this resonated with you, take a moment and reflect. What patterns have shown up in your life that you brushed off as a coincidence? Let me know in the comments. What inner knowing have you silenced in favor of logic? Maybe it's time to listen again, guys. 2 ears, 1 mouth. Thanks for journeying through this with me. If you felt something shift, drop a comment, let me know. Let's keep this dialogue going, not just in the mind, but in the soul. I love you guys. If you made it this far, you're awesome. If you haven't subscribed, I hope you do. Take a moment to like it if you liked it. And that's it. I'll let you guys go. Thank you for tuning in. WTJ Knowledge Drops. We'll see you guys next time. I love you. Go love somebody you don't like.